Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Barcast TV and to another episode of Barcast Daily. It is currently August 8th, 2023, and we have found another new high-level player for y'all. So introducing, on the right side of Comet Catcher, playing as the blue pieces, we have Chisato, or as he's otherwise known as Yudi in FAF client. And his opponent for the day, also want to give a warm welcome back to the bar 1v1 scene, is therxyy, playing the red pieces and an Armada commander. So shout out, gentlemen. Hope you're having a great day today so far, and have a quick little announcement before we get well underway in this match. If you all are interested in participating, viewing, getting involved in a 1v1 tournament, well, check out Dark Spring TV. He's going to be hosting one here within the next week, and the signups for his August tournament end within about 3 days of this video being published. So we're going to have a link to that channel in the description. Be sure to check him out, send him some love, show him some support. Trying to grow the 1v1 scene in bar, so if that's something you're interested in, be sure to check him out. So that being said, we have a pretty high level 1v1 match going to be played on Comet Catcher, and this is going to be featured in the next upcoming tournament as well. And yeah, more on our blue player here. So for those of you who don't know the long lineage of this game client, it all started with Total Annihilation back in the day, and we've had a lot of games kind of spin off of that. So Chisato is, yeah, the #1 player in FAF, the I guess TA clone that came out sometime in the mid-2000s. Anyway, so they have a third-party server still going strong in this day and age, 2023, and he was interested, I imagine, in the $600 tournament we're going to have coming up here. So shout out Chisato, welcome to Bar, welcome to the channel. Of course, should be a pretty high-level game, a pretty good game. We have Grunts versus Core bots versus armed vehicles, so on Comet Catcher nonetheless. So pretty classic matchup, core versus arm, bots versus vehicles. We're going to have to see how these players navigate the matchup, navigate this wide open map, and what they're going to bring to the table here. So as we expect in this very early game, we have some rovers kind of making their way across the map looking for some scouting information. And therxyy is going to confirm that, yeah, Chisato is playing bots here, so I'm not sure how familiar therxyy is with our blue player, but he just started playing the game, and I'm not sure what this blitz is firing at. It's interesting. Sorry, where was I going with that? I wonder if he's like aligning his turret or something like that to shoot in that direction. I'm not really sure. And yeah, so we had a lot. I actually observed this today. I've seen this game already. We had a lot of players in the spectator chat. So shout out to all the boys hanging out in the lobbies here. If y'all are interested, we have, I mean, the lobby system as we have it in bars. I mean, you can meet a lot of new players. Pretty cool place to have a chance to chat with the guys, see what's what, follow along in the game, and make comments. I actually have the commentator chat disabled for this game. There was a lot of banter going on. I think it might be a little distracting. We could see a lot of those pings and callouts back and forth throughout this match. So that being said, looks like Chisato is doing a really good job of spreading out some grunts here. I mean, he's got 2 on the north side, 2 on the south side, trying to find damage here. therxyy doing what he can to kind of shoo this away. He's already built one LLT in the back that's going to pick off 1 grunt, but looks like Chisato is going to find himself a mech there for his troubles. And if maybe some additional damage here, this LLT isn't done, kind of pulled those units out of position for a bit, is going to get another mech for his trouble. So what is that? 3 grunts for 2 mechs. It's a pretty decent trade. He's going to find maybe a little bit more damage here, wasting a couple shots on this construction vehicle. He's going to pick off a couple of rovers there. So this is kind of adding up. We see a couple units here and there, a couple scouts, a couple mexes, and that's really enough damage for this bot open. He's kind of pinning our red player back, and he's got more units moving across the map. So therxyy just doing what he can to stay in his bubble here, defend himself. He's got a nice spread of units. See this classic grunt versus blitz interaction. The blitzes have lower range but higher movement speed, so you can get a lot of kiting done with these grunts if you micro well. And we see these units still trying to find a little bit of damage here and there. Take a look at these player views and player cameras. I always like to see how these players like to view the map, how quick they play. You see Chisato queuing up some mexes there, trying to micro his grunts as best he can. And yeah, this is something I noticed. He issues a lot of interesting build orders to kind of orientate his units. We'll see that a lot. Maybe we'll pick up on this again back, but let's observe our red player for a moment. Just continuing to hold his blitzes in the center position here, just outside the factory, trying to protect this mech. So this is a little precarious situation here. It ends up stepping forward with these blitzes, but Chisato is on top of kiting around against this here, so really nice control here. Kiting back, continuing to move backwards here. I mean, he's trading out a couple of blitzes for the grunts, ends up pulling back this damage blitz. That's a nice little micro trick there, pulling back your damaged units, and those will eventually heal up over time if they stay out of combat for long enough. Meanwhile, on blue side of the map, looks like a low health blitz found its way into the back line here, so you should end up getting this construction bot. That is a nice pickoff, especially as the vehicle player. We're constantly feel on the back foot. Meanwhile, on therxyy's side of the map, Chisato stepping forward with a couple of grunts. Gonna get a little too close to that commander. He's gonna lose a few for his troubles. And looks like that construction bot and mechs ended up going down in the corner of the map. So nice little pick off there. Continuing with the harassment so far, we have a vulnerable construction vehicle. Is this going to go down to these grunts? I don't see any units in position here, so it's a nice little pick off. One blitz off to the side here is not enough to stop 5 grunts. And yeah, really strong pickup here, just continuing to pressure his opponent, keep him kind of contained into this little circle we see on the map, especially 6 minutes into the map. It's 6 minutes into the game on Comet Catcher, so this is kind of the name of the game for a vehicle player, but what ends up happening a lot of times is he's not trading out for these blitzes, so he's finding economic damage, our blue player, finding some economic damage here and there, but therxyy's continuing to add on his army size, so eventually we should see him stepping out onto the map once he's kind of confident to defend himself in all places. And we see that happening now, so he's sending a couple of these blitzes. He's going to intercept a decent-sized bot detingent here. So Chisato is doing a good job grouping up these units on the south side. He's got units on the north side. Also spotting this run-by attempt from our red player. And yeah, both players just trying to do a lot of the same, expand on the map while harassing your opponent. I think Chisato is doing a little bit of a better job here with that for now. Might end up taking a bad trade. He's stepping up into an LLT, and it ends up going down, but he's gotten himself on kind of surrounded by these blitzes, so you really want to avoid these as best you can. And Chisato's going to lose a large amount of grunts here, so that's going to take the pressure off of therxyy for now and allow him to expand into that bottom left quadrant of the map soon enough. So meanwhile, on blue side of the map, we see 2 run-by attempts on the top and bottom side. If we look at our mini-map here on the north, we've got a couple of these blitzes being dealt with here. A really low health construction bot. Are you going to swing by therxyy and get that? That's so low health. I don't quite think he I'm not sure he quite realizes that's so low. And continuing to get some damage here on the south side. He's going to find this construction bot again, so a really good job denying this expansion. You got to turn around and finish the job, though. Yeah, so just 1 grunt left. Not enough to defend against this. Meanwhile, on red side of the map, we see more grunt damage getting through. Picking off a construction vehicle. Huge pickoff again, going down. So that's 2 so far. Both players aren't able to expand into this bottom right side. And yeah, there's a lot of action all over the place. As we can see, you have a little bit of a run-by attempt here on the top left side. These grunts are going to run into a LLT. Some blitzes are shortly in tow, and they're going to finish dealing with this little run-by attempt there. Nice job cleaning that up before that construction vehicle goes down. And things are slowing down for a bit right now. Let's take a look at these main bases and the statistics. We see Chisato is up about 2k mass at the moment, so really good job. I think that's just how fast he expanded to this top side. Meanwhile, our red player, continuing on this 1-factor production, he's got a lot of construction turrets out and adding on some additional solar collectors. So for those of you who don't have too much experience on Comet Catcher, it really is about converting mass into energy. As the game kind of scales up, you really have to be on top of, unlike wind maps where you kind of take it for granted how easy it is to increase your E. Well, no, you're only limited to solar collectors here on such a large eco map, so really important to scale that energy as the game progresses. Gonna have to take a look and keep an eye on this top right corner. You can see both players' energy income and their current metal income. So keep an eye on that. Along with in the bottom right, we can see those two bars will let you see both players' current metal and energy they have in the bank. So a lot of information in this UI for now. Really makes sense of who's at in one position, and we can take a look. I mean, who has the advantage so far? therxy's got a much farther forward commander. He's got more of the middle of the board, a lot of reclaim on his side of the map even. You can take a look and see just how much reclaim he has available to him. So almost 2,000 metal on his side of the map alone. We have a big battle here in the middle, a lot of grunts trying to shoot away these blitzes for now. And they're stepping forward, trading decently enough. You really want to get the flanking damage against these vehicles. But I mean, once you get past the army, it's hard to kind of stop them. Blitzes have higher movement speeds from grunts, so therxyy just doing what he can, just completely avoids chasing those units for across the entire map. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, another little engagement here. Grunts versus blitz still. Neither player deciding to tech up at all. No second factories as of yet. See a lot more construction turrets in the main base here for therxyy, who is just now scaling his power eco, so somehow still has more than therxyy, who is, adding on still a lot more power. His 4 construction turrets, still content to pump out blitzes and construction vehicles for now, along with rovers on repeat out of the factory. Got a lot of pings going across the map, and I'm going to try to do my best to follow this action. We still have a lot of movement across the map everywhere. See, therxy's trying to group his units back up. He doesn't have much of a standing army at the moment, and therxy's really leveraging these small packs of units all across the map. And finally moving into 2 factory production here. So trying to spend that mass in the bank, almost 2k mass in the bank. And what is he doing with this construction bot gang? He's got them all moved over here to reclaim that. I think that was a bit of a misclick, yeah. And a lot of LLTs we see coming up in the middle of the map here for our red players, so it makes raiding a lot more difficult at this stage of the game. 12 minutes into the game. Still trying to find some damage with grunts. Those opportunities are going to be fewer and farther between as we see more and more pork going up across the map, as they call it. There's a couple of vulnerabilities though. We see you're really missing some LLT coverage, so if therxyy could find some grunts in the backline here, you could still get a lot of damage. So still a lot of opportunities, despite the front is really choked up with units and LLTs. Meanwhile, therxyy doing a good job raiding in the top right corner. Take a look, 3 more blitzes. Finding a couple of nexus for their troubles. I think one construction bot ended up going down here. And yeah, therxyy pressuring in the middle here. He's finally moved into this medium tank production, so grunts and medium tanks for now. Sharking around the map, trying to shave off LLTs, and Nexus really not diving into the meat of therxyy's main base, who's moved on to two vehicle plants as well, so has yet to kind of queue that factory up. Still idle for now. Have to take a look at both these players. I mean, it seems like really even. I mean, relatively even incomes for now. Take a look at these statistics once again. Yeah, therxyy just still up 2k mass. 13 minutes into the game is not the largest deficit. See a lot of res bots making their way out to the map, but unfortunately getting picked off. Still trying to contest this little reclaim field here in the bottom mid. And yeah, therxyy still has so much reclaim on his side of the map. I mean, look at this. Yeah, 2,300 mass sitting right in front of his doorstep. Gotta get on top of that reclaim and get that into your economy. He's letting his opponent have all this time and space to kind of create these huge armies and move them onto his side of the map. It's really hard to reclaim when you're feeling so pressured. From every direction, both players still trying to group up armies. We see a lot of blitzes moving towards the center here, trying to fend off this medium tank grunt army. And this is going to be enough units to shoo him back for now. I have to zoom out to capture the movements of these large armies. I don't see any run-bys on the minimap, save for this one. heading through this bottom channel. He's going to pick off a construction bot and a couple of mexes for his trouble, but meanwhile, Chisato is really posturing in the middle here. He's got a decent amount of medium tanks. And yeah, therxyy is committing with this huge run by, so kind of getting the surround on these medium tanks. Really getting that surround damage adding up. Still, these medium tanks take so many shots to go down. He's completely surrounded by blitzes. Still doesn't go down until after they move past him. Really interesting to see. Chisato's main base has so much build power. He's got a lot of construction bots, a lot of construction turrets, sending some out to the middle to try and get some of this reclaim. Meanwhile, on the bottom mid side, see some more run-by attempts. Rover's coming up to deal with medium tanks. Not the best way to deal with these heavier units, heavier T1 units. Like even more of these tanks coming up in the back, trying to fend this off. Meanwhile, in the center of the board, got even more tanks and grunts here, trying to gain control of this reclaim field. Chisato's doing a really good job of pressuring his opponent off of that for now. We see still no construction bots trying to contest this reclaim in the center, so that's really good for our blue player for now. He's got control of the middle. He's pushing his opponent back, but I mean, this is a lot of blitzes still grouping up once again, so we can see they're moving to intercept this army. Trying to get a surround off. Chisato kind of stepping back. His armies are so spread out. It's a little atypical of these games we see where the players kind of stacked our armies up. Really interesting to see. Yeah, more construction bots finding their way to the center of the board. We see a lot of reclaim commands issued here for our blue player, sending build power every which direction, but therxyy's doing a decent job of raiding. He's got packs of units kind of sprinting forward through the lines here, finding a lot of these construction bots. Really doing a good job of spreading his opponent out. I mean, we still see this decent sized group of medium tanks in the middle, but they're getting surrounded by these blitzes here, so therxyy doing a really good job of cleaning up this pressure for now, and the game seems to be slowing down. Excuse me, yeah, therxyy doing a really good job clearing out these tanks here in the middle. See some more pouring out of the production here, but it looks like Chisato's kind of been pushed back to his side of the map for now, and that's gonna give therxyy a lot of breathing room to get all of this reclaim. And that's what he's doing. We see 5 construction vehicles moving to the center of the map here, and more construction turrets and a T2 factory queued up. So he's going to be going into T2 as this reclaim kind of gets into his economy. Meanwhile, on Chisato's side of the map, some more tank battles here. So many blitzes. But we have a lot of medium tanks finally making their way onto the battlefield for our blue player. And therxyy's commander is a little vulnerable. I mean, this is about the point in the match where I end up dying and somehow find the one spot where my army isn't. You look away for 1 second and your commander blows up. Isn't what's happening just now. We see more reinforcements coming up for our blue player. He's really not diving in, which is a really safe position. That would have been a blunder, I believe, trying to get those medium tanks in to attack that commander. A lot of LLTs to retreat to, a lot more blitzes kind of from behind came up to defend that. But yeah, I have to say I like the red player's position now. I mean, he's doing a good job of getting this reclaim. He's got 4 construction vehicles in the center. He's moved on to T2 production here, so we don't really see that out of our blue player just yet. Still hanging on with this medium tank or grunt production out of the factory. A lot of res bots here on the map currently, and a lot of these mexes for our blue player really need to be capped. I mean, these run-bys did their damage, still continuing to kind of pile through here on the bottom side, but really have to be Johnny on the spot trying to get those mexes back up online. That economy interruption can really add up over the course of the game. You might not think it, but you know, 2.3 times 10 is a lot of income you're missing. Lou having to kind of chase these run-by attempts around the map for now. Has yet to put any kind of pressure back on our red player, and that's just given therxyy all the time in the world to get this T2 factory up. So we see he's paused production out of all his factories. I'm sure we'll see a couple of advanced construction vehicles, and yeah, Bulls finally coming out of this factory on repeat. So T2 is on the way here for our red player. And what a good spot to be in. I mean, you're raiding your opponent's of the map, and your T2 is kind of on the way. So perfect position here, timing this out. Not under threat of losing any kind of big battle here in the center, and then having to defend while you're down on army against a lower tech player. It's kind of how you can lose games. But yeah, really well timed here, coinciding with that big influx of metal from the center battles from previously. And yeah, this is about the point in the game where you need to pull your commander back, therxyy. I mean, you're out in the middle. You must know you're at an advantage here. Take a look at these statistics. therxyy, yeah, finally up about 5k mass at the moment, so a really good spot here. He's gone split map. He's got T2. His opponent isn't attacking him at the moment, so... And there's a lot of medium tanks on the board. I mean, there's 10 here. There's about 20 in the middle, 27, and some on the bottom here. So really decent-sized army for Chisato. We see just a couple of blitzes here in the top mid for our red player as these medium tanks, T2 tanks come out onto the battlefield. So I'm sure Chisato received the notification, T2 unit detected. And he should be teching here anytime soon, I'd imagine. That's really what you need to do. You can't stay on T1 production knowing your opponent has the chance to upgrade his mexes on a map like this. So this first bull has made its way to the front line here. You have a second one in tow. You can really see the range advantage they have against their T1 counterparts. And still more battles. So many res bots getting taken out here in the center. That's not what you want to have happen. Those are really valuable units at this point in the game. They represent a lot of opportunity to kind of swing an army advantage in your favor. Take a good fight and get that economy really sucked up quickly. Is just huge value at this point in the game. Really on any map. It can come down to like who can control a reclaim field for a minute and a half. 20 minutes into the game, you might end up having 4,000 or 5,000 mass in the center, which just equates to a lot of tanks. You see our blue player has finally made his way up to he's gone for T2 bots right now, so really interesting choice. He's going to be making fiends, quick attacking units, really good for raiding. I'm not sure how well they're going to hold up against these T2 tanks. We see 5 bulls now on the front line here. therxyy's commander is still in the center, continuing to add on radars and LOTs. Really what the commander needs to be doing is, I mean, he's got a lot of build power. He can protect himself with the D-gun. And we see Chisato stepping forward, but I mean, it makes it really easy to kite with these tanks here. Continuing to move back, and both players kind of step away from each other for now. Meanwhile, on the top side, that's going to give Chisato the opportunity to step forward. He knows he has a medium tank advantage, so he's going to utilize it for now. We see one bull just making its way into the battlefield for now, but that's not enough to stop this many medium tanks for now from rolling over into your army. But there's also a lot of beamers. I didn't quite notice these, so those in conjunction with the bulls can do a really good job of stopping this attack. And we have a little bit of a battle here in the center. Yeah, 6 or 7 bulls is really what you need to contest these T1 armies. They have a lot of firepower. They shoot very quickly. And you don't want to force a bad fight. We see Chisato is kind of dancing around these units for now, attacking where these bulls aren't. Stepping forward, trying to find some damage here with his medium tanks. He's got a really large army advantage despite the fact his opponent is on T2, so this is what I was referring to. There is a vulnerable spot when you put all that mass into these higher tech units. Make yourself vulnerable to those T1 units that were left over from your opponent. And yeah, more fiends attacking these bulls. I'm not really sure how those battles actually go down. How effective those are at trading with those T1 units, T2 units, rather. And a bit of a run by. There's a huge army that's broken through the line here on the bottom side. We have some res bots and construction bots doing what they can to get that reclaim. We see some bulls really pressuring forward here in the middle, getting so close to the production of our blue player. This is a really dangerous spot. We see Chisato's bringing his army all the way back here, trying to defend against this push, and we see therxyy stepping forward. He's got a lot of bulls here. See how well these fiends can deal with these units. Kiting back for now. How are you going to deal with these T2 units? I mean, take a look at the bigger picture here. Yeah, there is There's a ribeye attempt in the bottom left that's getting dealt with. This should be cleaned up shortly enough. Still a lot of reclaim just outside of our red player's main base. And he is pressuring his opponent. I mean, this is not what you want to have happen. There's so many T2 tanks. He's getting right on top of the production. Chisato's desperately trying to pressure this away for now. He's running units straight out of his factory into his opponent's T2 tanks. He's going to cloak his commander, trying to get a good D-gun off. I think therxyy is really well aware of this. We can take a look at these player cameras for now. Chisato doing what he can to micro against this. This is a really tense situation. Chisato's on the back foot. He's down in eco for sure. These three tanks have to know that commander is right there. Trying to avoid getting D-gunned. Yeah, he sees that. He's just kind of dancing around for now, pulling back. See a lot of T2 tanks heading towards the bottom right side of the map. And therxyy doing what he can. He's just distributing these T2 tanks. We see a couple going towards the middle, a couple on the bottom mid side. He's going to be making a run-by attempt here. Try and clear these units out. That's going to force Chisato to move these medium tanks down to the bottom side, and that's really units he can't spare. I mean, these three medium tanks still, T2 tanks rather, still pressuring this main base. Chisato doing what he can to reclaim this area. So much reclaim on the board. Fiends coming up, doing what they can to deal with these T2 tanks. One D-gun goes off, takes out one of them, and Chisato has to know the position he's in. I mean, he needs to be thinking about how does he come back in this game, because this is not the spot you want to be in, sitting here with your commander cloaked underneath the crater, trying to prevent your factory from being camped. And he finally has these fiends broken out into the center of the map here, so he has the opportunity to send these across the map to maybe get some Raspin damage, but therxyy is over it. He's bringing up his entire army to finally end this game. He's going to break through this factory production one way or another. We have some blitzes in the back. This one bull just got 19 kills, just continuing to kite back these medium tanks that were dealt with, sent up to deal with that. And yeah, here we go. therxyy is rotating the bulk of his army around to the bottom. He's going to go for the energy. No, he's trying to get on top of this factory production. Chisato's doing what he can, shooting this away with his fiends. The T2 tank finally got dealt with in the back. You have some Jaguar lightning tanks that have made their way into the composition, going to obliterate all those res bots. And this is looking like a desperate situation for Chisato. He's got 4 bulls, 4 lightning tanks right outside of his factory. He's running away with his commander. Can't fight this. He's going to cloak and walk away. He doesn't have the economy to support this. I mean, this factory going down is a really good job of getting rid of that energy production, energy consumption, and his commander is going to get off scot-free, but therxyy, your commander is exposed, man. You've won the game. There's 10 fiends right next to your commander. What are you doing, man? And he's going to cloak and walk away. Is this how Chisato wins this game? Oh my gosh. He's going to find this cloak commander. therxyy is doing what he can, ready, but I mean, he has to know this is his only opportunity to win. Yeah, the commander's been revealed. He's completely surrounded, and it's going to go down. Unbelievable finish. Chisato taking the game, doing a little dance. That was absolutely incredible. This game was completely lost, completely over. Somehow Chisato found a W there. So therxyy, I'm sorry I did you dirty like that, but we had to introduce this man to Bar, and what an inaugural episode. So now that we made it to the end, thank you all for watching. Thanks for staying. Hope I earned that like and subscribe on the video, and I'll be sure to be back with more high-level 1v1 Bar. So thanks everyone for watching. See you in the next replay.